Great.
All right, I'm gonna count you in. Three, two, one.
¿Qué pasa, campeones? Welcome to another Churros y Tácticas podcast on this Monday, the 14th of November. And guess what, folks? He's back. He's back. The dynamic duo is back because Kian Sobani's back from his travels, back in his regular seat, and we're back to being two. And it feels good, my friend. It's been a long time. I've been looking forward to. It feels like a long time. I mean, when was the last time we recorded together? It's over a week ago. We didn't record last Monday. Um,
For
I
sure,
would
it was
say it's been
before
like
my last trip to Spain, so it's been a long time.
so maybe 2 Mondays ago, or the second to last Patreon. Probably that was the one right before you
Yeah,
flew off. But
yeah.
yeah, man, good to have you back. It's the end of the first part of the season. I'm always tempted to say first half. It's not officially the first half yet, but it's come to an end. We're at the
Yeah.
World Cup break. World Cup in Qatar 2022. It's here. On the pod, Kian, we sort of discussed last time how there's not so much hype and anticipation heading into this World Cup. At least it's not buzzing in the air like it normally is before summer World Cup. But having said that, since then, the squads have been announced. They have been announced in pretty, in some ways, creative fashions. Like it or not, I mean, I would like to, of course, get your takeaway on the Spain squad, different squads, what you're looking for, what you're interested in, and then there's a whole bunch more surrounding this scene that I'm sure we're going to pick each other's brains about. Some things coming out of the Madrid camp, some things coming out of the Barça camp, the Ronaldo thing, the Cristiano thing. I would like your take on. So let's get down and dirty like we do, baby. How you feeling, man? You're
I'm
climatized.
feeling good. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I feel rejuvenated and refreshed. I feel great that there's no games on the calendar where we have to sit down at an allocated time on the schedule where it's
Sure.
like, hey, we can kind of work at our own pace. We can kind of sleep in. We can come back and finish our work later. We don't have to sit at a desk covering game and all that stuff. So that's nice. I enjoy that aspect of it. And often when we fall into times like this of the year, I'm like, wow, it's just a nice pace.
It's
And
weird though. It,
I
it
really
doesn't
enjoy
feel
it.
odd, like the fact that it's winter time. It's so.
For
I've never
sure.
felt
Yeah,
this.
it's unprecedented, right?
It's
I mean, this
unprecedented.
has never happened before. Yeah. So but yeah, look, um, yeah, I feel good. I feel fresh. I feel great. I mean, you and I, also listeners should know, you and I literally logged onto Zoom and pressed record. We did not discuss talking points. We did not have any briefing. We said hello and press record. That's it. So we don't, and I know, and I'm happy for you to take the lead on that too. I mean, obviously you do the intro because since we last spoke, a lot has happened. Barca picked up the points they're supposed to. Real Madrid did not pick up the points they were supposed to. So you guys have a decent cushion now,
Two
relatively
points.
speaking,
2 points. Yeah.
in a tight title race, right? And so that obviously matters and factors into
Yeah.
you doing the intro. A lot has happened, and I guess I'm not really sure where to start and where what to like. Do we discuss this chronologically? The Spain squad feels like a decent place to start, even though it feels like so long ago that was announced, right? And it feels like so much time has passed. I almost forgot my analysis of it. I mean, I can say some stuff about it,
Well,
but
what have
where
you
do you want to
discussed it in
start?
managing Madrid? I would imagine. I don't know how are Madridistas. Some questions on top of my mind. Last time in the Euro Cup, we had Madridistas in uproar, going, "Where I'm not even supporting the Spanish side." That was something new as well. This time around, two Madridistas or Real Madrid players will join the squad. Carvajal and Asensio. Is that good? Are you guys are
Okay,
Madridistas
so
behind Lucho this time?
well, uh, just starting a little bit before that, we did not discuss the Spain squad at all in the Managing
Oh,
Madrid
okay.
podcast. We did a podcast earlier today, which has not been released yet as the time we recorded, but we spent
Okay.
like 30 minutes talking about the Cristiano Ronaldo interview.
Right.
So we that's what we have discussed.
Okay.
And
But
we
since it's
didn't
been
talk about the
announced,
Spain squad.
So during in your the pods you did over in Madrid, there was no mentioning of the Spain squad.
Well, to be honest, we've been taking it easy. We haven't been recording many podcasts, so it's not
Okay,
like we had a
okay,
podcast after that happened. Really,
all right,
I also
gotcha.
think from a Real Madrid perspective, there's a Real Madrid fan perspective, and then there's the Spanish Real Madrid fan perspective, which is different, right? Because a lot of Real Madrid fans are not necessarily Spain fans, unless you are literally in Spain and
We found that out.
you're
Yeah.
yeah. So for them, it's like they don't really care. I think there is also a realization, I would hope, from Spanish Real Madrid fans is that like there's not many Spanish Real Madrid players right now that could make a case anyway.
Mm,
Carvajal, Asensio has barely played this season, although he's pretty looked decent in his cameos. He's looked pretty good.
yeah.
Um, the one I think Real Madrid fans will look at is Nacho, who anytime he's called upon, he looks awesome for us.
Mm,
And it's like there's some. I think I have criticisms of Lucho's squad, but they have nothing to do with Real Madrid and them getting like every complaint about I would have about an omission is actually a non-Real Madrid player. It has nothing to do with the Real Madrid aspect of it,
right.
So,
Right.
um,
As it should be, I think. Right.
this is
Unless there's a
yeah.
very strong
I
case.
don't.
I mean. Mm.
This is the way I look at it, and I don't know how you look at it, but and this goes back to the Euros. I mean, we watched a lot of Spain now, obviously at the Euros, and then obviously in the qualifiers, the Nations League. This team is weird in the sense that it has a low floor and a high ceiling. It can shit the bed against the shittiest of teams, but it can also beat the best team in the world. And knowing like the variance of the team, I'm not sure what to expect. I think the more you put this Spain team against better opponents, I feel like you'll see better versions of them that'll rise to the call. But ultimately, I think this is where I think they'll fall short. And this is my prediction. It's like I think we'll see the team play decent football and play well. And for those who are skeptics, they'll be surprised at how good this team is. But I think what will ultimately happen is that this team will fall short and they'll get their moral victory like they did against Italy in the Euros. But then
That
we'll
was
be
a
like, hold
harsh,
on a second. It was a tough,
harsh loss.
it was a heartbreaking way to lose. Yeah. But I think there's going to be like questions like after, like, hold on a second. Could this have been better? Because there's clearly really, really good players omitted who are in better form than some of the players are in the squad. And this is the point I made on Twitter is like, it doesn't seem like when I look at the Lucho squad, I can't like pinpoint like what the strategy is. What is it based off of? Is it based off of current form? Doesn't seem like it is based off of your legend status and your current or past achievements. Doesn't seem like it. Is it based on playing time? Doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's just based on who he vibes with most. And I think that's okay. That's nothing wrong with that. That's important that you need to get along with the people you have. But when I look at, Mikel Merino omitted for players like Koke, I question that, for example.
Mm.
Or Canales, who has been awesome for a long time now. Players like that.
For who?
There's quite a what?
For who? Canales for?
Well, let me pull up the squad here. Just one sec. But why don't you give me your thoughts too while I kind of look it up.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm ready to watch this team. I think impress us like they did in the Euros. I don't know if I have my expectations set too high, but I have to say as well. I mean, a big eye of mine is set on the Dutch side being the surprise package, if you will, of this tournament. I sort of like the fact that there's low key, so basically no expectations of this team, of this Dutch team. It's never in the conversation, in the mention of being a real contender, and for good reason. I think this team has everything to prove, but it's got some very exciting pieces. But before we digress or talk about other teams, with regards to Spain, though, I think the talent is so for me, well balanced. And I guess the surprise and probably, and I was curious if you're going to say Ansu Fati. That's what kind of why I said who is Canales coming in for, because Ansu Fati, I guess, is the
I would
surprise.
drop Sarabia, or I would drop Sarabia or Asensio before I would drop Ansu. I
Yeah.
wouldn't drop Ansu,
Okay.
that's for sure.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 Well, he was sort of pitched as the big surprise. I don't know if that was because Lucho decided to
Should have
name
been.
him last, and I have to say, and I say that with actually a lot of, it warmed my heart in the newsroom when all of us were glued to that screen listening to Lucho name off players, list off all of his squad, and then Ansu Fati was called the last, and there was a big roar going through the newsroom, which surprised me as well because it was very. I think I went like this, and everybody went yes, and everyone was just. It was like this natural reaction, and I have to. I say I'm surprised because obviously, not to digress into the politics now, but no big surprise that many of the people that work within the club are not necessarily Spain fans, right? So, yet it goes to show that they do want their players to be called up for the let's call it the biggest tournament in the world with respects to the Olympics. I think it's a toss up between which one is perhaps deemed the bigger tournament. So all
NFL
that
fans are pretty angry right now.
who
NFL
NFL,
fans.
well, because of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But that's as one game event. I'm talking about it as a tournament. The World Cup. There's nothing like it. No NBA playoffs. No Final Fours. Nothing. It's the World Cup. It's the month and a half every 4 years where the world sort of unites and we're all glued to the TV, trying, hoping that our country reached the furthest in this meaningless tournament, really. But it kind of gets everybody united, not necessarily culturally or politically, but at least united in terms of we're all just excited to see this kind of football or spectacle take place on our screens. Even like a good example, my wife, I always tell you, she watches no football, she will get excited for a World Cup, right? So that all being said, Kian, I don't know if you want to spin back to. I imagine you have the squad list at this point. If you want to kind of go through who for you are missing and who for you could have been dropped off. I think the Canales over in Asensio and Sarabia. Sarabia, you said, right?
Yeah.
I like Canales a lot, but yeah, maybe over in Asensio.
I guess I'm surprised that Ansu was a surprise to some. I think he, based on merit, he should be there. I think he was also great before he got injured. Was it last year or the year before that? I don't remember exactly the timeline. And he's been good off the bench for Barca this year. I guess I suppose in some ways what's interesting is that some of these criticisms and concerns of the team are about players who may not, like, we're talking about depth chart players who wouldn't necessarily not start anyway. So how much would it impact the team if Canales is in for Sarabia?
Right.
If neither
Right.
of those two players are that important. Although this is the thing about Lucho. I don't know the answer to that question because I often feel with Lucho is that he doesn't know his best starting 11. Every single qualifier, it's a different team in the 11. It's a different if it's a different team on paper from game to game. Oh, what's up, Joya? What's
She
up,
escaped.
Michigan
My
Big?
wife is looking very angry.
Like once. Oh, okay.
Kian
Well,
likes
I
to
don't want to
see her.
hold you. If we have to cut the podcast short, then you okay to record? What's up, Joya? Joya's famous.
No, she has to go take a shower. Come on, and then we gotta eat.
Oh, okay.
Let's go, Joe.
I just realized that she probably can't hear me. I should have waved and said, now she probably thinks I ignored her. Tell her, please
She's
say
waving.
I said hi. All right, cool.
Kian says
Perfect.
hi.
Yeah. So my point was, I don't think Lucho knows his best starting 11, man.
Hmm.
Every game it's different. So I don't know. Like one day Sarabia is going to be a starter, the next day he won't see the field, and I don't know what he bases that on. It often feels like he just draws names out of a hat for his 11s. I just don't know. This is why I say it's a huge variance with this squad. How it'll do. I just don't know. Like the big talking point was, Eric Garcia over Ramos, for example.
Well, you want to try to come up with his best 11?
His best 11, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't thought about it too deeply, but um, there's another one that is it's. I mean, De Gea is one thing to be admitted. I can kind of see it.
Mm.
Public enemy number one, Kepa from 2 years ago, who everyone hated him, has been really good this year. He's been admitted. Again, if Unai Simon is the starting goalkeeper, how much does it matter? Like how? But again, I don't know how deep will you have to go. I don't know. These things are unpredictable. But I suppose if you were to go right now, you'd probably go Carvajal, Laporte, Pau Torres, Gaia. In my opinion, I'd start over Alba. Then you go Rodri, Pedri, um, and the third. I mean, it's probably going to be Gavi unless he's. I don't know if unless he starts Busquets and Rodri together, which I don't see. I think this is where you make the case for Mikel Merino. Also,
Merino over
you
Gavi.
know, I would, based on the season Merino's had. Yeah, he's been amazing. Like I also don't like, for some reason Thiago has never been really liked by Lucho. On his day, one of the best midfielders in the world.
He's very injury
Uh,
prone. You know you have to start
brings
Gavi, and
experience to
and
the
and
squad.
the sorry.
Brings experience to the squad.
Gavi is a go-to of Lucho, and he's going to start Pedri alongside of Gavi. We could see an all,
Yeah, that's
Barca
what's gonna happen.
midfield,
Yeah,
but and for good reason. Gavi has been splendid. He's been excellent both for club and country. Every time he's put on the Spain shirt, you know that you're going to get production out of him. And I think Rodri, will have his starts, but his go-to other two players in the midfield will be Pedri and Gavi. I think Gaia will be playing instead of Jordi Alba as well. Um, and, you know, do I think that Balde should have gone instead of Jordi Alba? I definitely would have liked to. I'm kind of surprised Marcos Alonso hasn't been picked, but secretly, I was hoping that Balde would make his World Cup appearance, but not something I'm going to criticize. It was just kind of like my dirty little fantasy, if you will. Uh, can't have it all. Can't have it all.
well, the attack is kind of. I wonder what he'll do in attack. And the attack, I mean, there's still like in the attack, there's, to me, when I look at it, there's not that reliable guy
Mm.
who can put
You
the
don't
ball
have
in
a
the
number
back of the
nine,
net.
you mean?
No,
Mm.
I mean Morata. We all know what Morata is by now. We just don't know what you're gonna get from him. Could be great, could be terrible. I don't know. Um,
You could get no
Ansu,
goals, and then all of a sudden a massively important goal, a goal that weighs the world in gold.
for sure. I also the other question I had was, where does Lucho see Guillamon? Is
Mm.
he going to play him as a defensive midfielder or a center back? Because he's, to me, the way the squad is listed is he's a center back. In which case, you could argue you put Nacho or Ramos there, I suppose. I don't know. It's just kind of, again, I don't want to overanalyze, other than the fact that I think this team has a low floor and a high ceiling, and I just have no idea what to expect.
Has a low floor and a high ceiling. So the low floor is what, not getting out the group stage, let's say.
Don't think that's crazy. I also don't think that it's crazy for them to reach the semifinals.
They're in a group with Costa Rica, Germany, Japan. No, it's not crazy. This is a tougher group than perhaps first meets the eye. Costa Rica cannot be underestimated. Holland, I want to say, it took us penalties to knock them out in the last World Cup. in 2018. Am I? That's right, right? If my memory serves me well.
Well,
Germany's Germany, and Japan, is Japan. They've got some ballers. You got
well,
Takekubo,
like
but
it's yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I mean, the thing is, like, I think a lot of people listening to this would be like, "Come on, guys, you guys are being insane. Like, there's no way that Spain would not progress in a group like that with Costa Rica and Japan. Germany, fine, it's a team that's going to give you." Funny enough, this is exactly what I predict. I think they'll beat Germany, and then the other two games they'll just something. It'll they'll they'll scrape by. But as a reminder, a better Spain team in 2018, on paper at least, was really, really, really struggled to get out of the group stages with Morocco and Iran.
hey, dude,
And then Russia took care of them in the next round. Remember?
I remember
That's
that,
why, like, these World Cups, like, there's potential for this kind of stuff.
and I'm sure you'll remember '98, the big Zubizarreta fuck up against
98 was
Nigeria.
heartbreaking, man. My first ever World Cup. Yeah.
That was heartbreak, and that was against Nigeria. We didn't qualify out of the group stage then, so I've seen it happen several times. It's the World Cup. Who knows where we're gonna get? What
They'll
for
also be
you?
facing low blocks.
And they'll be facing plenty of low blocks. Yeah, no, look,
Yeah.
it's going to be a tough tournament for Lucho to I think advance deep in, and you perhaps summarized it accurately in saying low floor, high ceiling, because you could see this team make a very deep run for sure. I don't have the bracket in front of me, but it would be fun if we could kind of map out which team, what would happen if which teams qualify first or second. But still, putting push to shove, you're putting Germany, Spain as to in whichever order, Spain, Germany as the two
Yeah,
to
for sure.
advance. Yeah,
I,
yeah,
it would be a disaster if they didn't get out of the group stage, and I don't think they
yeah,
will get out of the group stages. But
yeah.
yeah, that's for sure. The Spain, Germany, 1-2, whatever, no question.
Then your native Iran has got a very interesting group: England, U.S., and Wales. Any hopes?
So the thing with Iran is, on paper and on the field, it's a very, very good team with a lot of players who are playing in Europe. But obviously, Iran has massive distractions about what's going on in the country, right?
Yeah.
And first of all, we weren't even sure if the team will actually play in the World Cup or not. There were
Uh-huh.
real chances of them being
Pulling
actually just
out.
excluded from it altogether.
Yeah.
The players themselves have been very vocal.
Yeah.
Football is very secondary right now in the country. There's a lot of heartbreaking things happening in the country.
Yeah.
People all around the world have arisen to support Iranian women. I've been
Hmm.
in several protests as well, just showing support. It's not priority number one right now in the country.
Hmm.
So for that reason, I don't know where the heads will be at in the group. Based on pure footballing perspective, I personally believe this Iran team is good enough to finish second, above USA and Wales. But I don't know where the team is mentally to compete right now.
Wow. I, of course, was not unaware of what has been happening there. I was perhaps naive to the fact that, to the point as to how much of an impact this could have on the national side in Qatar. Um,
Mm.
it makes sense. It makes sense. This is perhaps is the government trying to calm things down to deviate the attention and trying to deviate purposely, obviously deviate the attention and the tension towards the World Cup as a way to kind of calm things down.
The government is out of its mind.
Hmm.
So recently, they just sentenced 15,000 people to death. These
Jesus.
are people who have been thrown in jail because they're against the regime, the Islamic Republic of Iran, and the regime. Persecution and oppression, and the installation of fear has been something that's been part of this country for over 100 years, well over 100 years, and it hasn't improved. There's a story of an Iranian woman named Tahireh in the 1800s who took off her hijab.
Mm-hmm.
She was killed for that
Mm-hmm.
by the government.
Mm-hmm.
You fast forward to 2022, a woman who has her headscarf on improperly killed. She's not the only one. This story of bloodshed, like we take for, and I know this is not football we're talking about
No,
anymore.
please, we
So,
need to know.
but it's important. But like
Yeah.
this idea of like taking little things for granted
Mm.
in the Western world of being allowed to have a choice
Right.
of wearing a headscarf or not, having full freedom over your fashion choices or your cultural attire, and not being worried about dying for the choice of wearing a headscarf or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are simple freedoms we have that exist that we don't even think about twice in the Western world, where that just doesn't exist. So now I will say this is the first time, I think, for sure since I've been alive, that there is some hope that things will change. Right now, a lot of the fear is gone. People are not afraid anymore. They're coming out. They're putting their lives on the line for this cause. So there's a feeling now that for the first time, this regime will actually be overthrown.
Wow.
So again, so this is why football right now is secondary for the people of Iran,
Of course.
Yeah. So I just don't know what we'll see from them in the World Cup.
Well, my heart goes out to everybody there, and may good rise up. My goodness. That's tyranny these people are living under, and it's very sad.
Yeah.
That you mentioned how far the dates were separated between that lady being murdered for not wearing a headscarf and the second one improperly. I mean, it's like you said, we have not evolved, or that society there hasn't evolved, and certainly us being used to life here, taking these kind of things for granted, it serves as a stark reminder to feel blessed for sure. And again, my heart goes out to everybody there. Is family of yours directly affected? You still have family there, right? I think we talked about that.
A lot. I do have family there, but most of my family like left Iran in the 70s, like before the revolution there. My family is also Baha'i, right? So we're at this point the largest religious minority in Iran. And for that reason, the Islamic regime always looked at the Baha'is as a threat. So my entire family tree is just bloodshed. They've been killed, thrown in prison. And so definitely my family, I mean, I was born in Canada. I've never been to Iran, but my entire family, like, yeah, there's just pure martyrdom just because of their beliefs. Nothing else. Just for the belief of not being a Muslim in Iran and being part of a religion that is ever growing. Has been always a huge threat to them. So Baha'is in Iran not allowed to attend university, not allowed to own businesses, thrown in prison regularly, killed regularly,
Jesus Christ,
just for having a different belief. So yeah, it definitely has always hit hard to my family and all Baha'is around the world for sure. So yeah,
how do you say highs? That's what your
Baha'i.
people are, Baha'is.
Yeah, Bahai. Yeah. So yeah, it's a tough situation, obviously, and that's kind of what's on the mind of Iran right now, all Iranians, and quite frankly, from what I've seen, not just Iranians, people around the world, like any woman who has heard this story has been very sympathetic. Like, well, that's great. They've stood up, with the people of Iran for this too, because it's a human rights issue. It's
absolutely
crazy that
absolutely
this is happening. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And from wow, yeah, and from a very serious topic as such, I want to see if we can spin it to another person that is under severe persecution and has feelings of betrayal and being doing wrong by, and that is Cristiano Ronaldo, of course.
Hold on, can I just say I looked at the bracket.
Yeah.
So if Spain come out of the group, let's like say if they come first, they're facing that group with Belgium, Croatia,
Hmm.
Morocco, Canada. So it's likely they'll face Belgium or Croatia. Although Morocco's really good, they may sneak into. And I gotta say, at least there's a glimmer of hope for Canada. I'll give them like 4-5% chance. They play really good counter-attacking football. If and if
Hey,
Davies on the
when
field,
is it Canada's day? I mean, look, you guys got the Davises. You got,
now or never. It's our best team ever.
it's the best team ever, right? Canadians must be
Yeah,
hyped. I asked you about you. I mean, yeah,
for
how are
sure.
the Canadians do? You've got also two nations riding on in this one.
Everyone's the entire country. Doesn't matter if you like the sport or not. It's going to be just mayhem here, just like it was when the Raptors made it to the championship.
Right.
It didn't
You guys
matter if you like
rally
basketball or
together.
not. Yeah, everyone with bars were packed, streets were packed. So
Fuck, man, it's not
no,
looking good for you. That's for sure. It's a tough
no, it's a
one.
tough group. It's a tough group, but at the very least, those three group stage games are going to be lit.
Yeah. They'll be big. Exactly. They'll be big. It'll be a
So,
good group to follow for sure.
so it's it. We're gonna probably face Belgium or Croatia. Spain is in the round of 16.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Just going down the other groups, you got Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon. I mentioned on the last pod, yes, I also claim Switzerland. I think you know by now. I mean, my wife is Swiss, my kids are Swiss. I live there, so that's an exciting group. Switzerland beat Brazil in the last World Cup in the group stage. I want to say, if memory serves me well, or no,
They
they
also
didn't
beat
beat them, but they
Spain.
went. Yeah, and Switzerland beat Spain in
Remember?
the World Cup in
Yeah.
2010. Yeah, only team that Spain lost to, but or they took Brazil down to the wire. I don't remember, but anyway, Switzerland is very decent football playing because they beat France out of the fucking Euros. Hello, remember they beat France in the Euros. Cameroon, obviously, always the African threat coming there. Top. Who's the current champion from the Africans?
Senegal.
It's Senegal, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Senegal's in Holland's group.
But I don't think Sadio Mane is playing. I thought he was injured, but I have to double check that.
No,
I think
Mane's not
he's one of the
playing. Yeah, that
casualties of the
it's
World
one of
Cup.
those sad. Unless he's gonna pull Ronald Araujo. I felt so sorry for Senegal when I read that Mane was out. I'm like, oh my god, here that's it. That they're Messi and their star player is not gonna be able to play. That sucks.
Well, he's in the squad just in case he can play. So we'll see.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll
Bayern are
see.
probably like, man, please don't play.
Don't fucking
They're
risk
probably
it.
freaking out.
Yeah. Well, people from
Uh,
Senegal, I would imagine, be like, oh man, we're in it as champions. And now, yeah, our star players is not going to make it. That sucks.
I have a question for you
Mm.
before we get to the Ronaldo topic.
Hmm.
Um, Two questions. Who do you think will underachieve and be disappointing in this tournament? Like which team, and who do you think will really just like raise the call and be awesome?
Well, you can guess the first one. I'm sure the loyal listeners, the longtime listeners, will know the country that I'm going to name for
Oh,
question number one.
Germany.
Fingers crossed.
You hate Germany, man.
Fingers crossed. Hey, in these tournaments, the most. So fingers crossed, Germany. I think England will disappoint.
I feel like they always do disappoint.
And pains me to say, but maybe Belgium will be a team where people thought, oh, would have
I
expected
could see
more.
that.
You know. Now I know the
I could see
French are
Belgium.
upset as fuck over their midfield. Apparently, they are like, this is the world. But I still
Well,
see
they
France
lost
as a
two key
massive
pillars of
contender.
that midfield.
Yeah, but they are so deep, man. These guys, I know that Camavinga, Chouameni got on thanks to these injuries. Hey, what's going on with
Well, Chouameni
Camavinga?
was going to be in anyway.
Yeah, Camavinga wasn't though. But what's going
Camavinga
on?
was fringe. He's been in the squad, but he's not playing much, or he plays a little bit. And Deschamps rips him up in the press conference after he said Camavinga has made this mistake. I don't know what's going on. He's 19, man. Like he's
I
just
know, but
he's
Gavi
lost.
is we're sort of agreeing that Gavi will be a starter for Spain, winning the Golden Boys and the whatnots. It wasn't long ago we were debating Gavi or Camavinga. Yes or no?
It's still Camavinga for me.
Okay.
Like
All
it,
right. All right.
yeah. I don't want to get into this.
So yeah, who do you
Wait,
think will disappoint?
I actually think France.
Yeah.
I think France will disappoint. I don't know. I don't. There's something about them I just don't trust. I don't know. I don't trust their internal politics and their ability to stay unified. I just don't.
Well, you
There's
expecting
just too
another
much drama.
sit on the bus episode? You remember that? We're not
What was
getting off
that?
this bus. What was that? It was like 2000 and wasn't that the Japan where they kicked off Dominic? Wasn't that in the World Cup in Japan? They like refused to
I
get off the
vaguely remember,
bus
but
and
not really. 2002.
2002, I think so. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
That was a disastrous tournament for them. 2002.
Yeah,
Man,
they
that was
didn't get out.
brutal.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so that's the one I'm looking at as like the one who will probably
Right.
underachieve. I would say Portugal, but I don't even think it's underachieving at this point because
No.
everyone just knows Fernando Santos cannot do anything with that team. Even though it's a great team, he is the problem of that team.
I'm
The
scared
one I
they
think
could be a surprise. I'm scared they could.
I'll give you two that I think are going to do well.
Mm.
Uruguay
Mm.
and the other one I think Brazil's going to win the whole thing.
No
That's my prediction.
surprise. Okay, but
It's
that's
not
not
a surprise,
a surprise.
no, but I just have faith in them to actually win the tournament.
Okay. What do you better think? What do you think about Nederland? Man, Oranje, baby. What are we gonna do?
Good team on paper. I honestly haven't watched enough of them in qualifiers to really have an opinion on
Sure.
them.
Well, I'm
How do you
hoping
feel about
obviously
their
that they
chances?
will be the surprise, as I
Yeah,
mentioned. Yeah, I'm curious
that's
to
fair.
see Xavi Simons in this team. You know, he was sort of the surprise
Does he
call
play?
up. Well, we'll
Will he
see.
play?
We'll see. I don't know.
He's having a good season though
He's having a great
for
season
PSG,
with
right?
PSV. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
Van Gaal is known to trust his youngsters. You know, he's not shy of kind of shaking up the hierarchy at all and give way to the young players. He did it since Ajax. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, Holland, Oranje, baby, we can be the surprise package. Come on.
All right. Every time you say Van Gaal in your Dutch accent,
Yo.
it sounds like you're saying Falcao.
Oh, Van Gaal. Yeah, I guess. Van Gaal. Falcao. I got you. So yes, my friend.
Yeah.
Listen, we gotta skip to the next topic. It's good to see with this chat that some hype has finally been instilled within me for this World Cup. The event starts like now, like in 8 days or something, 6 days, 7 days. It's like in a week, in no time. So
Yeah, I feel like it's just going to be like, I still can't accept that reality. I feel like the day of, I'm going to wake up and be like, oh, it's World Cup today. Like, it's just weird.
it's
Still
weird.
not really fully like, yeah. I haven't even looked at like the schedule or anything, barely.
But here on
Don't know what's
Churros,
going on. Anyways, yeah. So
we traditionally followed all these tournaments. So I'm looking forward to reporting on them.
yep, we'll be active for sure. All right, next topic. I just why don't you give me your thoughts on the Ronaldo thing? Because I've talked a lot about it today.
You talked a lot about it. Yeah. It's, I mean, since this ridiculous interview broke, and that's the only way it can be described, just a ridiculous interview.
Mm-hmm.
Two ridiculous personalities. With all the respect that I have for Cristiano from a sporting perspective and his achievements, zero respect for Piers Morgan. This fucking Weasley figure. Do you know Piers Morgan? Do you know about him? Is he in Canada? No, right? I lived in the UK, so
I mean, yeah, everyone knows about him. Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, he's just a weasel. He's just anyway. This interview initially it did what it served its purpose. It created shock. You know, that initial shock factor where you're just like, oh, what is this? What is he saying? And then you quickly realize, obviously, the reasoning behind it. You start to sort of ask yourself, well, why would he put himself or the club rather on blast and be so blasphemous and disrespectful towards his club that he says betrayed him and whatnot. And saying he doesn't respect Ten Hag, and just starts firing off shots everywhere. Solskjaer only showed us videos of his goals. I kind of chuckled. I mean, I have to say, it served its purpose from a humorous standpoint as well, because I laughed a lot reading some of the transcripts. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the video. And then you're just like, this guy just wants to get the fuck out, and he doesn't give a shit, and all he wants is get out, to use this window, this upcoming winter window, as an opportunity to really force United to finiquitar, right? Finish his contract, to terminate his contract, pay him off, and say, get out of here, man, get out of here. So it's a shame, I think, for all Ronaldo fanboys. I can't imagine Messi doing that. And don't start to compare this with the Bureau of Facts, because, well, we can talk about that if you want, but I have a different opinion on that move than I have on something so much more public and disrespectful. So I think if I'm a Cristiano fanboy, I would be disappointed, because it's not going to do this image of his any favor that he tried to portray in his final phase of his career, but that we always knew was inside of him, and that's it. That, in a nutshell, that's kind of my feelings.
I don't have much to add. I thought I thought the interview was ill-timed and disrespectful to the club, to his manager. And I thought it was a letdown to a lot of people there, the fans, the team,
Yeah.
who didn't know about the interview.
And there's still more coming.
Yeah, it hasn't been released in full yet, but the damage is done.
Yeah.
Rooney had fair criticism of him.
Rooney.
And in the criticism, he also basically said, Ronaldo, what does that have to do with anything? Makes no sense. He basically feels betrayed by the club because they decided to bench him and play a different brand of football and ask him to buy in a certain vision off the bench. And that's his version of betrayal, when he himself wanted to leave the club in the summer. It doesn't add up. And so that's where I stand on it.
So, there's no way back. There's obviously... Go on.
No. Just that... I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
No, I just pulled up. I didn't realize that United had come out with an official statement.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to glance over that now.
They said basically nothing. They just basically said we will wait
behind the manager. Okay.
Yeah, and I think there was some interesting wording about like togetherness. We're focused on basically what we're doing. We can't let this be a distraction. And I think that's part of the disappointing thing if you're a Manchester United fan, is that the team is playing well. They're winning.
Right.
There's good vibes with Ten Hag now. It's a different situation if the team is just getting destroyed and being played off the park. This is the first time they actually are building something right now with Ten Hag. It's looking good.
Yeah.
And Ronaldo's thing is almost distracting the team playing well. It's a disrespectful distraction. You should backing everything.
So he just wants to get out of there. Is what my takeaway from this, and I think it's just very clumsy. I think you'll get again. There's no defending something like this kind of behavior. Not even from
they'll find that his fans have found a way to defend him.
The one thing that I quickly saw on Twitter was, but the Messi Bureau facts. Look, the Messi Bureau facts was aimed directly at Bartomeu. He never insulted the club. He never went public to go out of his way to insult the club. Quite the contrary. And he went for the jugular in the Bartomeu situation. Then he couldn't be forced, obviously, because of the interpretation of his contract. As soon as Laporta came in, Messi was going to stay. He wanted to stay. So for me, again, comparing those two are It's like apples and oranges. I don't.
But what's funny to me is like, how did Messi even come up in this situation? It's like impulse to like every time one of them comes up, we have to bring up the other one. I've always been annoyed by that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's an instinct, right? It's the direct impulsive. It's like,
I made this point today, just to make it really quick because everyone talked about it again. But like,
hmm,
it's he had it's so hard for elite athletes to accept when they're no longer the player they used to be.
right.
And rather than saying, looking in the mirror and saying, okay, you know what? Maybe I can be an important contributor off the bench, just like the
Yeah.
12th man.
Yeah.
Team needs me. Team needs a goal. I'll be right there. I can be an amazing contributor.
Yeah.
He's taken the opposite route. He has refused to come in off the bench when Ten Hag has called upon him.
Could you imagine if sorry, I'm interrupting you. Go finish your
Are you
thought.
bringing up Messi?
No, no, no,
You're gonna bring up Messi?
no.
Oh. No, that was it. I mean, he has the choice basically to to look at himself and accept where he is in his career, but instead he wants to be treated like the Ronaldo of
Right.
2018,
Yeah.
2017,
Yeah.
2016,
Yeah.
and he's just not that player anymore. And that's completely, by the way, an acceptable and respectable place to be when you're 37 freaking years old. No
Yeah.
one's going to get mad at you for not being the same player you used to be. That's what happens
No.
when players age. That's okay.
Yeah.
But you have to accept that. And when you can't accept it and you think you're the same player, and to be quite honest, like his I'm not surprised about this.
Mm.
That's the funny thing is I'm not surprised at all. And so that,
It's
because I've
Florentino.
been a Real Madrid fan for
Florentino
a
knew
long
this.
time.
Yeah.
We have seen Ronaldo in a certain light for a long time. It was never problematic in the past because he was scoring 50, 60 goals a year. But when you take his personality from back then and bring it forward to when he's 37 and put that hand in hand with the fact that he's not that good anymore, that's a huge problem. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
you can back up a certain, you can tolerate a certain something. And quite frankly, it's not even necessarily criticism of him, because I think his ego in part was part of the reason why he was so good. He had that drive and you could tolerate that ego. But when he's no longer that good, you can't put up with this anymore because it disrupts the team's harmony. And it's
Mm.
just a complete distraction. It's a complete shit show now. It's a complete gong show. And it's disappointing that when a player doesn't reinvent and reevaluate his game and just buys in and tries to help the team win, he wants to be something else.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a shit show he leaves behind in Manchester United. I think Manu will be just fine. I think they'll feel relieved. Ten Hag certainly will feel relieved once he doesn't have to manage him any longer, which will be the case as of now. Like, I mean, this is the end. This is the point I was going to bring up earlier. Was imagine if before the World Cup, we would have seen the retirements of two footballing legends that are Gerard Piqué and Cristiano Ronaldo in a dignified way.
Well, he's not going to retire.
Piqué. Oh, Cristiano.
No,
Right.
Ronaldo.
I mean the departure, let's say,
Sure.
of United. Because again, I think the odd thing of what happened in the summer, maybe you know more and can explain it to me. At least shed a bit of light, because neither party wanted to be with each other over the summer. Cristiano wanted out. Ten Hag was like, I don't want you. You don't fit the system. You'll be a nuisance on this team. He wanted out. He could see he didn't fit the system. But did he want too much money? I mean, or did United want too much money from him from other clubs? What nobody wanted him.
So let's rewind. For some reason, there's a lot of revisionism based on who you support, whether you're the Manchester United fan or you're the Cristiano Ronaldo fanboy. Basically, this is what happened: is that Manchester United did not qualify for the Champions League. He wants to play Champions League football, and so he tried to find a team in the Champions League that would take him, that could afford him. No team could meet that demand, that was good enough and could afford him a start and could give him a starting role. Ten Hag was basically like, you make our team better, but you have to buy into what our philosophy is.
Right.
So we'd love to have you if you're going to stay and buy into this.
But you remember, already
Ronaldo's
he was
interpret.
leaving at halftime in the preseason. He was like, "Fuck this, I'm out of here." When he was not playing.
Yeah, and that's why he can't bring up this stuff about betrayal.
Mm,
His interpretation of betrayal is that he's not being treated like a superstar anymore. That's nonsense. Like that's
yeah,
not in the right here with this at all.
yeah.
And you can say, okay, oh, he's right about, he this is all the stuff that Mourinho said about Manchester United. Mourinho was right. He was the villain back then. Remember?
Mm,
And now it
of
seems he
course.
was right. But that's not the point. You can't just cause all these problems, disrespect everybody, and then bring up a point about Manchester United as a whole institution, and then be like, "Oh, well, see, he was right. Like that's not the, you can't just say like one thing and then ignore the rest.
Yeah.
The damage is done, man. And so this is my next question: is if this is the end, what does that mean? Because where is he going to go in January all of a sudden?
Saudi Arabia, maybe he'll be like, you guys wanted to give
He won't do
me
that.
how much? Well, where is he going
He
to
won't do that.
MLS, which
He won't do that either.
I don't
And
understand
that's
why
why
that.
I wonder if like somehow this will be patched up, quote unquote, patched up in January, where they won't find a suitor, and Manchester United won't be able to offload him, and then they're going to be in the situation where like, okay, well, we'll just publicly say we patched it up and everything is
No,
okay when it's not.
no, they'll pay him off. He'll be a free agent. He'll just go to any club for free. Maybe back to Sporting if he'll have to. Look, I don't understand why he's not going to the MLS. He always said he wanted to play there. Miami, Beckham has been, always talking
Because he
about. Oh,
feels he's too good for that still,
he'll
and
realize
he wants to add to his Champions League tally.
Atletico and Napoli didn't want him. They closed the door. All the other team, PSG even closed the door on him, for fuck's sake. If PSG doesn't want you, then nobody wants it. I mean, it's
Well, PSG would be impossible. I mean, where is he going to play?
what they didn't want him. Chelsea, it's Chelsea not gonna pick him up. Chelsea's in trouble as it is. I mean, I don't know.
This is the other thing, Diego, is that if he wants to make himself more valuable, this is the worst thing he could have done.
Yeah.
You think like any team who like was thinking about like, oh, maybe you know what, Cristiano Ronaldo, age 37, if he plays in a certain system, he
Yeah.
can score some goals for us, help us out.
Mm.
Now everyone's gonna be like, well, we don't want this baggage.
Mm.
This is a bad PR move, man.
Remember
Terrible PR move.
There was
No team is gonna look at this interview and be like, oh, Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah.
no
Let's bring
team,
him in after this interview.
no teams in Europe. But again, Saudi Arabia will always throw money. The Chinese Super League kind of went bust, right? They don't have that money anymore. But again, the MLS, Beckham has been trying to convince him. I think he'll realize that's it. It's over. His story here is over.
I don't see it. I don't know.
Where
I
is
don't
he
see it.
going? Where is he going? He's staying
I
at
just think he's
United.
gonna stay.
He's staying at
Yeah, I
Man
think
U.
he's gonna stay.
No,
I think he's gonna stay at Manchester United and like barely play.
no way, no way, no way. It's a bomb.
Do you think
It's a
I
bomb.
think Manchester United will have too much pride to buy out the contract. I think they were like, if you want out, you have to buy out your own contract.
I think they have enough money, man. The Glazers are like, fuck it. How much is it?
I don't think it's about money. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I just don't see how this plays out. I don't see a solution. If I saw a solution, then I wouldn't be talking like this, but I just don't know how this. And you keep saying Saudi Arabia, MLS. I don't think Ronaldo will accept that. I'm not saying he should or he shouldn't. I'm just saying in his mind, he'll want to be playing Champions League football next season. I think he looking at some of how these players aged. Like I think Zlatan did
phenomenal.
Did really good.
Yeah.
Like he went to a team like Milan, which was not the Milan of old, and he accepted what it was, and he did really good.
Really good. Did phenomenal.
That's what Cristiano Ronaldo should have
from the
accepted.
MLS. Went there, swung his Ibra dick around like only he can do. Did his shit, talked his shit, scored his goals on the very first match day. You remember he was scoring the ridiculous goals. Came back, won with Milan. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Respects.
Today, by the way, is the 10-year anniversary of Zlatan's goal against England. The bicycle
Oh,
kick
oh,
from
oh my God. One of the best ever.
so
Best
good.
goals ever. All right, bro. Listen, I
All right.
have to skedaddle.
All right.
Bet you never thought I'd say a word like that, huh? Skedaddle?
That I didn't know it wasn't your. Did you just learn it today?
No, I've been keeping it,
Okay.
saving it for the right moment.
All right. Well, I'm glad you got it out. All right. So Diego and I will be back probably at the end of the week for some Patreon edition churros over on patreon.com/churros de
For our
práctica.
beloved churro listeners, hey, don't tell me the Friday's not the best. It gets heated, gets
No, it's
emotional, bringing
by
in
far.
music.
This one that gets posted for free is basically like
So watered down.
child's play.
So watered down. It's got no
Yeah. It's
ambience.
just it's nothing.
Yeah.
The juicy stuff is on Fridays where it's like really, really
I
patrons
like.
will attest.
Have you noticed that I've been just playing off songs, doing little song breaks here and there? I enjoy that a lot. Just
Yeah, you do it a
incorporating
lot differently when it's just you. When I'm traveling.
Yeah.
You probably get so excited when I go away. Like, oh yes.
I'm like, yeah,
Creative freedom. No
that's
one
it.
to judge me.
That's it.
Hey man, people like it, so I got no complaints about it.
Cool.
You should just bring all that stuff to when I'm there too. Don't
Yeah,
wait
let's
for
do
me
that.
to log off.
Listen,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Let's do it then. Let's do it. We'll do it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, cool. Let's
All right,
chat. Thanks, Diego. It was fun.
Yeah, man.
Good to be back.
Yeah,
Chat
for
soon.
sure. Peace.
Peace. Oh, yeah, I've been holding the pee for like an hour. So
Yeah,
you
no.
gotta go
To my,
check your... Are we
yeah.
recording on Friday or Thursday?
Thursday, please, sir.
Okay, cool.
You
Let's do it.
good? Cool.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right,
Take
dude.
it easy.
You too.
Peace.
Peace.